Hello and welcome to Climate Check with me, Mary Mwiikisa. Now on the program today, we will be appreciating the best way to use energy in a climate smart way. And of course, we'll also be delving into the world of wildlife conservation and coexistence with nature. Join me on the other side. Now imagine if trees could provide Wi-Fi. Just how many trees you would plant? Well, they provide oxygen. We definitely cannot do without it. Destruction of nature, such as forests, has led to irreversible climatic changes to our world. Join me as I talk to policy formulators, change makers, and climate change interest groups on Climate Check, weekly on this channel. Now you are the solution to climate change. Now, to start our program, we will be speaking to Mr. Yakuba Traore from the African Energy Commission, and he will be talking to us about the most important aspects of access to electricity and how we can still be able to reduce emissions in our world. Join me as I speak to him on the other side. Joining me in studio today is Mr. Yakuba Traore, who is Head Division for Policy Planning and Strategy at the African Energy Commission, AFREC. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation and welcome.
You are welcome. I greatly thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Now, let's first appreciate what the African Energy Commission's core mandate is. What's your focus?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I must say that African Energy Commission was born here in Lusaka in 2001 when the African head of state and government decided to establish a continental energy institution to deal with the African energy issues. So since then, we have been headquarters in Algeria, where our office is. Actually, the core mandate is to support the African energy development by policy coordination, policy harmonization, developing and trading energy resources among African countries.
Okay.
So since our establishment, we've been focusing on key areas, including the energy statistics and information system, but also on some key programs, including energy transitions, renewable energy development, energy efficiency, supporting the oil and gas sector also to try to domesticate oil and gas trading within the continent, but also capacity building, clean cooking, and bioenergy development modernization. So through these flagship programs, we work with all the African Union member states to support their energy sector development. So that we've been working on that, supporting regional economic communities, and also the national energy institutions to try to address the energy challenge on the continent.
Okay.
So all our programs that we do look at developing a low carbon energy system within the continent, which is aligned with the global commitment in the climate change.
Okay. Now, how can we balance expanding electricity access with also transitioning to cleaner, climate-friendly and energy systems, especially for African governments?
Yeah, actually, sitting or speaking on behalf of the African Union, we adopted what we call the African Common Position on energy access and just transitions. Actually, this common position guide our policies in terms of energy transition, which actually calls for the use of all the resources that we have on the continent, be it renewable but also non-renewable. So we have several programs that campaign or promote the expansion of the renewable technologies within our energy mix. So to mention a few of them, we have the Continental Power System Master Plan. Actually, what is looking at trading electricity among African countries. For example, we have the example of interconnection between Zambia, Tanzania, and Kenya, what we call ZTK.
Yes.
But we also develop this kind of interconnection interconnection among other regions. Actually, the program is to interlink the African region where we have excess of generation to bring it to where the need is. So all these will have impact in terms of environment, reduction of the environments. But also in this journey, we emphasize very, very much on the efficiency, the efficient use of the energy that we have, the efficient use of electricity that we have, so that we can minimize or we can have a more rational use of the energy, but that will also have a very huge impact in terms of CO2 emission. For the information in our African energy efficiency programs, we did an assessment in Africa. When we apply some policy regulation within Africa countries, taking few elements like appliances that all of us know in our homes, but equipment also, electrical equipment, transformers that we use for power. When we use standards, policy standards on those equipment, we could save up to 120 megaton CO2 emission by 2040. So efficiency policies help us really to, first of all, save the money that we spend. It saves us the need to generate more energy, but it also saves us to safeguard our environment.
Now, for a country like Zambia, that really depends on hydro energy largely to power its country. How important is leveraging on new technologies to be able to still transition to cleaner energies, and how available or accessible are these technologies for Africa?
Yeah, actually, Africa is very blessed with the be it renewable and non-renewable energies. So, countries like Tanzania or other countries that rely on hydropower, where we can feel some intermittence in terms of the quantity of the water that we have in our rivers. We have options like solar, like wind. We have geothermal options. So those are options that we have that we can leverage on to balance our energy mix, so that we don't necessarily depend on one technology, but also these technologies are very climate friendly, and the technology are becoming more affordable for our countries. So what we need is to put the necessary regulation in place so that this technology can be developed at a scale. But looking at our African Union also, our position is that to try to domesticate the manufacturing of the renewable energy product within the continent. That we believe that the only way that we can really accelerate the generation of renewable energy technologies like solar or wind within our energy mix, and that also have other economic advantages like job creations, but also make the energy more affordable for our countries and our people.
As we let you go, tell us about the training that you are hosting in Lusaka and how important it is.
Yeah, actually the training that we are hosting starts from one assessment that we did. What are the advantage of really emphasizing on energy efficiency? So with that assessment, we realized that with few interventions, we can save a lot. And that helped us to develop our African energy efficiency strategy and action plan that actually was adopted last year by African Union Head of States. And with this strategy, we are now implementing. And that's why in terms of implementing, we mobilize partnership. Currently, we have two key partnerships with the European Union, but also with Danish. So with Danish, we have a program that we call Efficiency First, Powering the Africa Sustainable Development. So with this program, we have three main components: supporting African countries to develop minimum energy performance standards which has huge impact in terms of electricity savings, in terms of savings in our electricity bill, but also in terms of saving on CO2 emission. The second component is about grid loss reduction. As you mentioned earlier, we experience huge percentage of grid losses. So we believe that this program is a huge component advantage for our climate impact reduction. The third element is monitoring, because until you monitor, you cannot plan very, very well. Yeah. So that's the tech component. So what we have come up, we developed a handbook that member states, African country can use to reduce, first of all, determine their loss in the grid, distribution grid losses, but also to develop action plan to reduce them. So, and that's why we organize now this training here for the Southern Africa and Eastern Africa region. We will be having the same kind of capacity building training for the other African regions.
All right. Thank you so much for making it to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. And talking about the training, we were privileged to have been invited to cover its official opening that was graced by the Ministry of Energy right here in Lusaka. Our staffer, Dominic Davis Chifumbe, was there. Here's a report.
Addressing distribution grid losses is a critical challenge for the African power sector, with losses often significantly exceeding global benchmarks. They are generally categorized into technical and commercial losses like theft or billing errors. However, in a quest to equip energy experts with skills in the sector, the African Energy Commission-AFREC, a specialized energy agency of the African Union, in collaboration with the government of the Republic of Zambia through the Ministry of Energy, held a 5-day hybrid training workshop on addressing distribution grid losses in Africa. Rashid Ali Abdallah is the Executive Director. African Energy Commission was represented by Yagoba Traore, Head of Policy Planning and Strategy, and gave objectives of the workshop.
Electricity has become part of our human dignity, or should I say human rights. Global electricity demand is expected to grow 5 times from what we are experiencing now. And if we think about that, that growth is more even important in the developing economies that Africa, in which Africa is part of. So this is basically driven by our young and also fast-growing population, our cities that are booming, and also our manufacturing capacity that is surging. So Africa must go beyond electrifying our 570 million people who do not access to actually significantly improve the quality and quantity of the electricity that we use. So the African Union, through the Continental Power System, that's the CMP, projects that our electricity demand will more than double by 2014.
Director Planning at the Ministry of Energy, Sineva Kambenja, represented the Permanent Secretary for Electricity at the Ministry of Energy, Arnold Simwaba.
This capacity building workshop is therefore timely and essential, and it will equip participants with practical insights and solutions to address these challenges. Its timing is particularly fitting, as many African countries are now prioritizing efforts to reduce grid losses and strengthen energy efficiency. The government of the Republic of Zambia recognizes the challenges posed by grid losses and the opportunities that come with addressing them, guided by the national energy policy. The Ministry of Energy, together with ZESCO Limited, which is our public power utility, has continued to roll out a range of initiatives designed to promote the prudent and sustainable use of energy resources.
The workshop brought under one roof 21 energy experts from African Union member states.
It's timely, I would say so, in the sense that because looking at the determination of the distribution losses, that is the grid. And if you look at the losses, we have the technical and the non-technical. So like, in my view, I would love to know or to be able to segregate the technical and the non-technical so that I'll be able to know exactly which one is contributing to the losses that we are having. This one, the one I'm interested more is in the sign, because that one can go out to the LV voltage. So it will really help for the distribution losses, because distribution is wide.
The countries within the East African Community made up of 8 partner states to basically learn about how we can be able to develop action plans and reduce, and also just we can be able to determine the losses within the grid system, and how best we can be able to develop strategies in our respective countries and regions, and also Africa in general.
So this conference gives us a good opportunity not only to learn, but to share ideas, to share success stories, and also seek different perspectives from the different African countries, with the hope that we'll be able to manage. It's a big animal in the entire value chain, but most especially in the distribution segment of the grid.
Addressing distribution grid loss through capacity building is cardinal in tackling significant financial waste, improve energy security, and facilitates the transition to sustainable, decarbonized energy systems. Dominic Davis Chifumbe, reporting for Climate Check in Lusaka.
Welcome back to Climate Check with me, Mary Mwiikisa. Now we're moving on to issues of conservation and how we can coexist with wildlife and enjoy planet Earth. Now, WWF, which is Worldwide Fund for Nature, is focused on conserving nature, protect wildlife, and ensure people live sustainably with the environment. And joining me in studio to appreciate the work of the organization is Ms. Yvonne Goto, who is the WWF Regional Director, East and Southern Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on Climate Check and for agreeing to be on the program.
Thank you so much, Mary. A pleasure to be here today.
All right. How are you enjoying Lusaka?
Lovely weather, lovely people.
Okay.
Really enjoying my time.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's understand who Yvonne is and what you do at WWF.
So I'm the Regional Director for WWF in East and Southern Africa. So I work with the country offices in the region to really advance our conservation mission in partnership with the government, local partners, CSOs, local communities, and indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Let's now bring it back home to Zambia. What are some of the biggest threats to Africa's freshwater systems, and how are they affecting Zambia?
Okay. So in Africa, the freshwater systems are facing extreme pressure from hydropower expansion, pollution, overfishing, and climate variability.
Mm-hmm.
And in Zambia specifically, we've seen the changes. It's actually very evident in, for example, the alternating flows for the Zambezi.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing declining fish stocks. We're also seeing the degradation of wetlands like the Kafue Flats, which are really, really critical for biodiversity and food security.
Mm-hmm. And as an organization, what approach have you taken to try and mitigate the impact of climate change, especially on the freshwater systems?
So WWF supports the restoration of wetlands and catchment areas, which are really serve as natural water storage and flood buffers.
Okay.
So in Zambia specifically, we have a project called the Climate Adaptation and Protected Areas, which we are working with the local communities to restore ecosystems.
Mm-hmm.
We're improving the water security, supporting fisheries through co-management approaches, and also strengthening the communities to be resilient to these changes that come through droughts and floods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've spoken about communities, which these are mostly affected by climate change, but they lack adaptive capacity. How are you pushing the agenda of nature-based solutions, which is an option for communities where they don't have to spend much?
We have learned through the work that we're doing that success in implementing nature-based solution really lies with working closely with communities. And so some of the successes we have seen is where if communities are given the rights, are given incentives, and are given a stake in management, in natural resource management, then we can clearly see them owning and taking part of natural resource management. So specifically in Zambia, for example, models like community conservancies, fisheries co-management clearly show us that where communities benefit directly, then conservation outcomes improve.
Mm-hmm. Now, Zambia was hit by a major flood in 40 years, a few years ago. And one of the bigger issues really out of that has been how the agriculture sector was affected, the energy sector, and many other sectors that the country is still trying to recover from fully. What innovative climate financing options exist, and how can Zambia better leverage on them?
Okay. So in WWF, this is real. Climate finance, we are seeing declining climate finance across board. Mm-hmm. But there are significant opportunities that we are advancing. So for example, blended finance, we are in partnership with development banks, the new mechanisms like climate and biodiversity funds, which we are advancing. And so for Zambia, I think the opportunity lies in aligning your national priorities with these opportunities to be able to unlock funding, particularly for nature-based solutions and community-led conservation.
The issue usually, I think for countries like Zambia, has been the conditions to accessing this funding. How then can we navigate the mountain?
So Zambia subscribes to these global frameworks, global and regional frameworks. Yes. So I would recommend that Zambia really just focuses on, for example, implementation of the global diversity framework, for example, through aligning its national priorities. So making sure that you have very strong policies, make sure there's a strong investment in nature-based solutions, and ensuring that communities are really at the center of climate and conservation action, so that you balance livelihoods and environmental protection.
Mm-hmm. And what lessons can Zambia learn from community-led conservation across Africa? You could maybe even cite some examples from other countries that you oversee.
I've seen, just like I'd mentioned, that where the communities feel like they have a stake in natural resource management, and where they are benefiting directly, then you could actually see that this becomes a collective approach for not only governments, institutions like ours, but even the indigenous people and local communities. I can set an example of our work in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we, through one of the projects around restoration of forests, there's a project around payment for economic services, where local communities are benefiting directly through restorative actions that they are taking. So for every positive outcome, positive environmental action and outcome, there is direct benefits into their bank accounts. And so this really shows us that where the communities can benefit directly, definitely conservation outcomes improve.
How is WWF Zambia in particular collaborating with the Zambian government to achieve climate action and environmental sustainability?
We contribute in the development of the national priorities, like I mentioned.
Yes.
We are collaborating through different projects across the country, where we not only provide the technical support, we have a co-management agreement, for example, in Kafue, where we are partnering with government and partnering with other like-minded organizations to really restore and to provide the technical support that is required. So our engagement with government is through policy influence, through funding and technical assistance where we are required, and really helping the government to amplify our global voice in global forum.
Okay. We'd like to thank you so much for being on Climate Check, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mary. It was a pleasure to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
We take a short break. We'll be right back. We have come to the end of the program. Join me next week, same time, same channel. Do your part in protecting Mother Nature. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.